Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my home here in East Tennessee on this very cold day in December. The temperatures here this past week have just been, oh my goodness, they've been below freezing. The night temperatures have dipped down into the teens. So winter is here, and I don't see anything different in the forecast anytime soon. So we're having kind of an early winter. Of course, Big Red is celebrating that by putting on a huge show. I believe that he still has some blooming to go, but I kind of wanted to touch base with you all and answer a question that I get a whole lot this time of the year. How long do the blooms last? And why does mine not bloom for long? I get that pretty often, and especially with smaller plants. I hear that question. So let's just kind of go over what Snow White looks like right now, and I think it's going to help me to explain the answer that I'm going to give you. So for those of you who saw my short video on Snow White over the weekend while she was in full bloom, this plant, it looked like a snowball, covered with white blooms. It was absolutely gorgeous. Those blooms started about 2 days before Thanksgiving. And today is Monday. So those blooms lasted about 5 or 6 days. That's a pretty long time for an individual Thanksgiving cactus bloom to stay on a plant. But it's been very cold here. So I've noticed that the cooler temperatures, if you keep them in a cooler room, the blooms will last longer. We've had Decembers that started out very, very warm. The blooms don't last that long. So a guide, when your temperatures are cooler, they're going to last about 5 or 6 days. And same with Big Red. I had a beautiful bloom the day before Thanksgiving, and today I had to remove it. So as you see, there's a lot more buds. I do groom these as the blooms fade. I take them off the plant because that encourages more buds and blooms to form. Now let's say you have a very young plant like my Samba Brazil. This plant is only about 1.5 years old. I did get a few blooms off of it last year, but the blooms did not last that long because the plant was so small, it just could not sustain the blooms for very long. These blooms have stayed on the plant for 4 or 5 days, which I'm very pleased with that because look at the size of the plant. It requires so much energy for these to bloom. So when you have a smaller plant, the blooms might not last as long. The plant might not even be strong enough to sustain the buds and the blooms. And if you have a brand new plant that you've brought home, many times those buds and blooms will not make it. There's just too much of a shock between the garden center and your home. It's a little bit too much for it because it has an adaptation period to your environment as well, kind of like orchids do. It's a big change environmentally for them to go from a greenhouse that has given them perfect conditions, different humidity, different temperatures than your home. So it can shock the plant a little bit. They're going to drop their buds and blooms, but if you care for it, it might rebloom in a month or two. You never know if it's strong enough. If not, then it's going to bloom for you next year. So part of the reason why Big Red and Snow White stay in bloom for so long is because, number one, these plants are huge. This is a gigantic plant. Okay, this is just huge. They're very mature. They can handle the blooms. I've taken really good care of it all year. So it's had plenty of fertilizer, plenty of good light, plenty of good care. And the other thing is the temperatures back here have been very, very cool. So I've noticed that really helps with your bloom cycles. And also, as you see, as I lose the blooms that you see now, I have plenty of buds that are going to take their place. So this is going to be in bloom for quite some time just because it's a huge plant. So I was noticing the other day, the back of this plant that has been facing, that's been facing away from the light, part of it hasn't even budded yet, really. So this is going to bud because it's getting sunlight now. This is the part of the plant that has had sunlight. So you can see the huge difference between even those two sides of the plant. And the other thing I wanted to show you is I started using Tiger Bloom. This is a Buds and Bloom Fertilizer 284. My friend Molly S. recommended this. She's been using this quite a few years on her Thanksgiving cacti, and she's a very good grower. So she said, have you tried that? And I said, no, but I'm going to. So I have been using that the last, probably about 3 or 4 weeks. And I just use this at a rate of about a teaspoon per gallon every other time that I water, which is right now about once a week. And then when I don't use the Tiger Bloom, I use the Cow Mag. So it's getting a lot of good nutrients. So I can't wait to see if I can tell a difference with the Tiger Bloom. It's also very good for tomatoes. It forces buds to form. So that's kind of interesting as well. For those of you who have gardens, that's a helpful hint. So I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know if I see more buds forming. I have a whole lot. The way that Molly uses it is she starts using it as soon as she sees buds forming, and I thought that is smart. And then I'm going to be using that until the blooms are all spent off of the plant. So like I said, I'll keep you posted on how it goes and what I think about it. And I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you all for all of your comments. I really enjoy looking through my comment section, hearing from you all. I really enjoy hearing about how your plants are doing. And sometimes when you all share things with me, like Molly S., I had never heard of Tiger Bloom fertilizer. So that's kind of an exciting thing for me. And when you all ask me questions, sometimes it kind of gives me an idea for a new video. So I thank you all just for your friendship. Thank you for watching. I also want to thank the Orchid Supply Store, who sponsors my channel. All of my Thanksgiving cacti are growing in their professional blend potting mix. I really like it. And I also use about 1/3 extra small orchiata bark along with that, just to keep the mix really light and airy. The roots just really grow well in that mix. So don't forget that when you place your order from the Orchid Supply Store, to use my coupon code Amy for a 12% viewer's discount. And also you get free shipping inside the United States. So that's a great deal. And before I end the video, I'd love to say the blessing over you, your families, and your plants. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn His face towards you and give you peace. You all make it a great day, and we'll talk to you next time.